we're going to start by talking about the roles in the game, right? And you might be thinking, wait, but I read somewhere that there are no roles in Guild Wars 2. Well, technically, yes, there aren't any, technically, but for open world, right? For general content, you're not really going to have roles, but you can specialize, and that's what we mean by roles. You focus more on this specific part of the game, and this specialization is what we bring to group content, like instance group content, such as raids and dungeons and etc. Um, when we're forming groups, when you're playing by yourself, it doesn't really matter. But when you are in a group, we tend to get a little more organized. Uh, and unlike traditional games where you have, your tank, your DPS, and your healer, for those who are new to uh, MMOs, you know, tank is the player who stands in front of the team, getting all the damage and dealing with it. Healer is the player who heals the tank and the other players, while the DPS is the damage dealer. DPS means damage per second. It's just an abbreviation that we use, but it usually refers to the damage dealer. Guild Wars 2 does not follow this setting, basically. It goes a little different. It does not have a tank. It has the DPS still. It has a buffer. Oops, I'm typing as I am uh, editing everything. Not editing, it's live, so. So I have the DPS, the buffer, and the healer, right? And we're going to start by talking about the DPS. When it comes to DPS, we have two kinds, right? We have the power DPS and the Condi DPS. Uh, wait, there we go. What is the difference between the two? Well, power DPS means power damage, or as the game describes it, strike damage. It's when you hit the enemy, that's all you do. You do like direct damage to its HP. Uh, so if I use this ability, I'm hitting it like directly. I'm not applying anything else, like no damage over time, basically. When I press the button, I deal damage. And you have Condi DPS, which is damage over time, such as bleeding and torment, confusion, poison, burning. These abilities, you stack them as you attack. You're going to stack these conditions on the enemy, and they will deal damage over time. Now, as a new player, it's important to know that the type of damage you're going to deal will depend on the weapon you're using. And this is not fixed. For example, on a ranger, longbow is a power weapon. It deals direct damage. On a warrior, longbow is a condition damage. It deals damage over time, right? So this is going to vary from class to class, but the weapons you're going to use will define if you're playing a condition damage or a power damage build. The main difference is that condition damage, such as this staff on Mesmer, is a condition damage. This is the Mesmer, by the way. These abilities, they apply a bunch of conditions, as you can see here: burning, bleeding, confusion, torment, and they deal less power damage. They have less strike damage because they apply conditions on top of their normal damage. So if you use like only power stats, if you focus on power, precision, which is critical chance, and so on, but you use condition weapons, your damage is not going to be very high because half of your damage is supposed to come from your condis, right? So test all of your weapons as you're leveling your character, see how they feel, see what you like to play, and you might be asking now, okay, what's the actual difference in gameplay between the two of them? Well, power DPS, as I've said, deals direct damage, so you kill things very fast, especially in open world. You can just like burst things down super fast. Condition damage takes some getting used to because you are stacking conditions. You're making the enemy bleed more and more. So you need to ramp up your damage, right? You don't kill things instantly like you do with power. The advantage is if you for any reason go down, if you've played the game before, you're gonna see that you go like into down state. As a power DPS, you're not dealing damage anymore. But as a condition DPS, your condies are still ticking because the enemy is still bleeding, still poisoned. So you can kill things. Things are gonna die and revive you because they are still hurt from all of your attacks. So each of them have their own advantages, right? In quick bosses or quick enemies, power is gonna outshine Condi, but in longer fights, condition is going to uh, be better than power. So pick what you like, how you want to play, and go with it. The next one on the list is the buffer, as I've said. Here they're called boon DPS. I'm typing here, so give me a second. They're called boom DPS. And once again, we have a couple of types. Let me show this. There we go. We have quickness DPS and alacrity DPS. Those are called boom DPS. Um, and what is the difference between the two? Well, there are two buffs in the game. They're so powerful, no one single character can apply both of them. These are alacrity and quickness. Alacrity lowers the cooldown of all of your skills by 25% while you have it. Everything recharges 25% faster, while quickness makes everything you do 50% faster. All the actions, all the animations, they get 50% faster. And because they are so powerful, like I said, you're not going to find a single character that can apply both. So in a group, you usually have someone to apply quickness, someone to apply alacrity. And those are called ADPS or QDPS, right? Those are terms you might see around. And once again, they can be Condi and power. You can be a power alacrity DPS or a Condi alacrity DPS, power quickness DPS, condition quickness DPS. It all works just fine. And finally, we have the healer. So the healer's job in Guild Wars 2 is a little different than on other games. You're not just going to heal, you are also going to buff, and you're going to provide like basically all the buffs in the game. But like I've just said, you cannot apply both quickness and alac. So usually when we're forming groups, we combine. You have an alacrity healer or a heal with a quick DPS. You have a quick heal with an alacrity DPS. That's usually how we organize the teams. So your job as a healer will be to heal, of course, maintain the buffs, and maybe DPS a little bit, I don't know. It varies from group to group. In raids specifically, even though anyone can tank, because it depends, um, the default for some raids is the person with the highest toughness becomes a tank. And in most groups, that's usually the healer, because then everyone else can just go full DPS. But it varies. Like I've played quick DPS as tank before, perfectly fine, perfectly suitable. Um, but yeah, these are the roles in Guild Wars 2, and it is important to note that all the classes can play any of those roles. You can be a warrior healer, you can be a necromancer healer, you can be a elementalist buffer, you can be a mesmer buffer or a mesmer DPS, you can be a revenant healer, revenant buffer, revenant DPS, and so on. The subclasses cannot be anything, they are more specific. For example, this is a mesmer. Virtuoso, which is the class that I'm playing right now, is pure DPS. Chronomancer can be a healer, because it works well as a healer. And it's the only class at the moment that can choose between applying alacrity or quickness. So you can swap between the two buffs on demand, but you cannot apply both at the same time. And Mirage, which is the third subclass, can only be Alacrity. So Warrior, for example, you can be Quickness Berserker, Alacrity Bladesworn, Willbender's Guardian. So Alacrity Bladesworn, Quickness Berserker, or um, DPS Spellbreaker. Oh, Lemm, does that mean I cannot be a DPS Berserker? Yes, you definitely can. You just have more flexibility. So as Berserker, you can be Healer, DPS, or Boon DPS. As Spellbreaker, you can only be DPS. As Bladesworn, you can be Boon DPS or DPS. Same for Mesmer. Virtuoso is DPS only, but Chrono, you can be DPS, Healer, or Boon DPS. Mirage, you can only be Boon DPS or DPS. So this is going to change for every class and every subclass. Um, if you want more information about this, you can easily ask a Discord group or ask your guildies, Google it, you're going to find it there. Or you can go to specific websites such as snowcrows.com, which is where we get most of our raid builds. Um, and it's going to inform you, oops, snowcrows.com. It's gonna inform you if if the build you're using is a quickness, a healer, or whatever. So this is very different from other games where usually classes have specific roles. So try them all, play what you like, test all the weapons, and I'll see you on the next video.